Now, if you follow me this far, I hope you see why I'm concerned about the future of freedom in America. While politicians, pundits, and bureaucrats have done a lot of things restricting our freedoms and infringing on our rights in my lifetime, they do not hold the majority of the blame. That is because we haven't lost our freedom because of the rules, regulations, or laws, and not because of political correctness, 9/11, or COVID. We've lost our freedom because we, the people, have capitulated with the illegal demands of others. It wasn't government that took away our rights. We gave them up when we allowed them to coerce us into compliance. Is all hope lost? Have we condemned future generations to servitude? Have we abandoned our freedom beyond redemption? No, not as long as there are still free Americans willing to place their liberty above the false promises of the politician, bureaucrat, and pundit. How? How do we reclaim our birthright of liberty? How do we restore our legacy of freedom to those who come after us? Ronald Reagan gave us a clue.
The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
That sounds great, Paul, but how do we do it? Well, first, you have to stop believing the lie that you cannot fight City Hall. We, the people, created these governments, so we, the people, can fix them. These governments were created for one purpose. As the Declaration of Independence says, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That same declaration tells us how to deal with governments that don't secure our rights. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Now, by this point, you're probably saying, great words, Paul, but what do we do? I believe the answer comes from our first Chief Justice of the United States, John Jay, who said, every member of the state ought diligently to read and study the Constitution of his country and teach the rising generation to be free. By knowing their rights, they will sooner perceive when they are violated and be the better prepared to defend and assert them. We start by diligently reading and studying the Constitution of the United States. Notice, John Jay didn't say that every lawyer, judge, and politician should read the Constitution, but that you and I should. He didn't say that we should hand the rising generation over to government to teach them to be free. That's our job. Why should we do all this? How can you fight for, protect, and defend your rights, your freedom, and your liberty if we don't recognize when those rights are violated? How can we defend our right to live free if we haven't prepared to do so? How can we hand a free country to our children if we can't even defend it ourselves? I've already been telling this generation what it was once like in America when men were free. If you're my age, you probably have too. The question is, will we be the generation that allows freedom and liberty to slip through our fingers? Will we stand by while those who've never lived in a truly free nation march headlong into servitude? Will we fail at the task given us by our forefathers and let the sacred fire of liberty go dark? As George Washington wrote in his first inaugural address, and since the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are justly considered as deeply, perhaps as finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. The answer to that question lands firmly on our shoulders. You may not be able to save the country, your state, or even your county. Now, if you can keep the sacred fire of liberty burning, though, even if it's only in your own home, then there is a spark that can once again engulf this nation with a burning desire to live free. And the only way I know of keeping that sacred fire alive is to diligently read and study the Constitution, teach the rising generation to be free, recognize when our rights are being violated, and be prepared to defend and assert them. I'm ready to fight for freedom. Are you?